Well, the crowds that followed Jesus to this mountain for his very first sermon had very little hope for the world as it was. According to the previous chapter, those who were present when Jesus began his Sermon on the Mount were poor or sick with diseases and pains, suffering from epilepsy, afflicted with paralysis. These were the people who were thought to be cursed, who people thought God had punished them for some sin in their past, or that their cultures preferred to pretend like they didn't exist because their problems made people uncomfortable. So when Jesus chose to begin his ministry among them, curing every disease and sickness, crossing all lines of nationality and culture to do so, it turned heads. So struggling people of all kinds and all backgrounds, they came from every city in the region to hear what this new figure had to say, to be healed of their ailments, to find something to believe in. But standing on the mountain, surrounded by this enthusiastic crowd of strangers, about to give his first public address, Jesus didn't take the moment to self-promote. He didn't dramatically declare his godhood or even utter his own name in his first couple of sentences. Instead, he looked out at this crowd, people desperate for a reason to hope, people searching for a reason to keep going, and he had deep compassion. Jesus saw their many struggles, their sadness and their mourning, their poverty, how they hungered and thirsted for a better world, how they cared for each other in their beaten down communities, how some risked everything to protect each other, how some faced persecution for standing up against what was wrong. And yet, despite all the hardships that they were facing, the evil words spoken against them, their efforts for good that seemed to go nowhere, they were still trying their best, even in the face of the worst that humanity could offer. To them, he uttered his very first message. You are blessed, even if this world tells you otherwise. Your suffering, your efforts for good are not in vain. God is with you. Jesus' first public words were not about him. His first words were a declaration of God's concern for those who are struggling. I wonder where you find yourself on those lists of Beatitudes. Maybe you are struggling with finances, just trying to care for the people in your life, and there never seems to be enough to make ends meet. Or maybe illness weighs on your heart, or maybe your poverty is in spirit, depressed and anxious and torn down by the world around you. Jesus says, while this world may leave you wanting, the kingdom of heaven belongs to you. Maybe you are mourning the loss of people you love who gave you hope, or neighbors that died in ways that make you angry, or a way of life you used to have but no longer have access to. Maybe you mourn the world you used to know with more kindness and compassion and decency. Jesus says, I see your aching and your longing. I know your pain. I weep with you. You will be comforted. Maybe you choose gentleness in a world that tells you to be cutthroat. Maybe you feel torn and twisted by carelessness, and you're doing your best just to be kind to those around you. Maybe your heart is for the meek and the lowly. Jesus says, your gentleness is a gift after God's own heart. Don't let yourself be changed. The meek and the gentle will inherit the earth. Maybe you hunger and thirst for wrongs to be made right. The news keeps you up at night. Social media haunts and disturbs you. You don't understand the brokenness in the world around you. You want to do the right thing, but feel powerless and scared to make a change. Jesus says, I know your heart for justice, and in God's time it will be filled. Maybe you give people second chances when others say that you shouldn't. You trust when others tell you to be suspicious. You choose to show mercy when others say it's naive. Jesus says, you reflect God's heart. You will receive the mercy that you have given. Maybe the cynicism of the world around you wounds your heart. Maybe you try to see the best in others, to be humble and thoughtful, even when others call you foolish for doing so. Jesus says, your heart is pure. You see others as God sees them, and as you seek that divine spark, you will see God. Maybe you build bridges and heal divides. You mediate between family and friends and neighbors. You speak up on behalf of those who are not present to defend themselves. You work thanklessly for peace where everyone can get what they need, even when it's so frustrating you want to scream, even when your work seems fruitless. Jesus says, your work is not in vain. You are the children of God. Maybe wrong has been done to you, or to people for whom your heart burns. Maybe you have been attacked for doing what you believe is the right thing in response. Maybe others have yelled at you or threatened you for speaking up. Maybe you have been called a sinner for invoking your faith as a part of your words and actions. Maybe you have felt isolated or misunderstood for just following your conscience. Jesus says, you understand my journey and the journey of all God's prophets. The kingdom belongs to such as you. The world may attack you, but your reward is great in heaven. These are people Jesus declares to be blessed. Those who struggle, those who ache, those who try, those who fail. To persist in goodness, to be gentle and merciful, to endure hardship and loss, to work for peace and justice, to keep caring and working for God's kingdom when facing incredible resistance and impossible odds. It doesn't feel like a blessing. It often feels pointless. The world too unchangeable, our problems too unfixable, our pain too powerful, our goodness not sufficient enough. How can we make a difference in the face of everything that is wrong? Why keep going? Why keep trying? What is the point? These were the questions on the hearts of Jesus' crowd as well. And Jesus heard it. Jesus saw it written on their faces. Jesus knew what was in their hearts and the challenges they had faced and the indifference and cruelty and setbacks that made them want to give up. Jesus sees it in our hearts too. Which is why Jesus made it clear from the very first sentence of his ministry, what you do here matters. God sees you. Your pain is not in vain. In the kingdom of God, all that is wrong here will be made right. I know how you have ached and hoped and prayed for a better world. You don't have to fix it all. You don't have to have all of these qualities. It doesn't matter if your hope falters and your efforts fail. It doesn't matter the setbacks you face or the power that is levied against you. The real strength is God's, and God will partner with your faithful work. God will redeem your struggles. God will turn this world upside down over and over and over until it looks like the kingdom of heaven, until the meek inherit the earth. Persist in goodness, for you are blessed. Don't give up. Don't give in. Keep going. Jesus wasn't asking them to do anything complicated. In fact, the call was the same as it was when the prophet Micah cried out to the people. When his nation was crumbling and the future was uncertain, when their leaders were corrupt and the poor suffered and dangers lurked from every corner, Micah brought God's words that your efforts are doing good and it matters. Just keep doing justice and loving kindness and walking humbly with your God. Do what is right, make peace, protect the vulnerable, be merciful to others, be gentle and pure of heart, and remember that it is not all up to you, that your mourning will come to an end, that God will redeem your struggles, that God is more powerful than anything that you'll ever face. The message that Jesus gave to those struggling people and the message Micah gave to a nation in peril is the same: to persist in faith, love, and action no matter what. To remember that your efforts are blessed even when you can't see it. To trust that this world and all who struggle are in God's hands. To know that it'll all be turned right side up in God's time. It is a mantra and a purpose and a source of endurance when the world has no fuel to give you. If the world feels senseless and cruel, do justice, love kindness, walk humbly with God. If you are persecuted for doing what is right, do justice, love kindness, walk humbly with God. If your words and actions fail or seem to have no effect, do justice, love kindness, walk humbly with God. If you don't know the way forward, just do justice, love kindness, walk humbly with God. Because it matters. Because you're blessed. Because no struggle is unknown to God. If you're gentle, keep being gentle. If you care, keep caring. Keep showing mercy. Keep seeing the good in others. Keep making peace and struggling for justice in spite of everything that tells you to give up. Be the face of God to a world that can't see it. The prophets did it. Jesus did it. They kept going. And drawing on their example and their courage, so can we. The world needs you. You make God's kingdom real. Even if you're creating just a small pocket of heaven on earth for just a few people, even if the kingdom of God only breaks through for a brief moment when you're at your best, even if your words and your actions seem small and humble in the grand scheme of the world, these are the glimpses of heaven that keep your neighbors from giving up. We don't need to understand it all or fix it all or be perfect. We just need to be the blessings for each other on the way. To walk humbly, to give others enough healing to keep going, to be the voice on the mountain that's crying out, keep trying, to join in the good work alongside our God. Someday God will complete all that is left incomplete. Someday the meek will inherit the earth. Someday mercy and comfort and peace and justice shall reign, but until then, God has told us mortals what is good. God has told us that we are blessed no matter what evil or hardship we face. God has told us that the world will surely turn and that our struggles and the struggles of our neighbors will be redeemed. So what does the Lord require of us in this moment in time? To do justice, to love kindness, and walk humbly with our God. Thanks be to God.